Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is December 15, 2021, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, markets are mostly quiet before we get our FOMC rate statement later today from the central government of the United States. Now looking at the major economic events of the day, and speaking of which, 3:30 South African time out of Canada, we have a monthly CPI number. It's a inflationary report, and then simultaneously core retail sales coming out of the United States. Now the major event is the FOMC rate statement at 9 p.m. South African time. You do want to know what's coming out. Now looking at the various markets, starting out with the U.S. dollar coming and gaining on the Canadian dollar on a very important level. Now looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ pretty much unchanged right before this number. Looking at commodities, gold slightly lower at the bottom of its very tight range, and oil retracing to $70 a barrel. Now looking at the stocks, Apple takes a big retreat after hitting new time highs, and lastly Bitcoin trading lower. So let's take a look at the market and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're looking here at the Euro USD. Look at that tight range. Look at we've been churning the past week. Okay, this is not tradable at all. So you got to look for things that are tradable. Okay, so in this type of situation, we're looking at the Canadian dollar, and we're looking first at a daily chart. Look at that. Look at this area that we're hitting. Major area. This is a major resistance-ish area, especially since we're coming out with today's number. So if we do pass this 28.50, we could definitely hit this 29.30-ish level, maybe even get closer to the 130-ish level. Okay, that is something to consider because it does look like it's breaking higher on the bar with some increased volume. So something to consider when we look at this. We're looking at a weekly. We still have a few days for this to actually follow through. So nothing really otherwise happening when it comes to the Forex symbols. If we look here at the Aussie USD, also retracing and just staying put, and the GBP very tight here. So nothing really doing much here. Now looking at the major commodities, looking just at oil retracing here to $70 a barrel. Not a big deal, okay, from 72.75. We do have a support level at 69, so keep that in mind. We're bouncing off of it right now. Looking at gold, in a very tight range. I mean, yeah, is it tradable between 1788 and down to 1768? Definitely tradable, okay? I'm not going to tell you otherwise. But you got to really pick your spots very carefully, okay? So if you do think that this is going to go higher, this may be a spot to actually buy it anywhere between 1768, 1766, in the anticipation it's going to go back up, okay? Now, it's been trading within this range, okay? So we're at the bottom of the range, but keep this in mind that you know, it's been very lackluster, okay, which means that it hasn't really been following through so much and hasn't been something where I want to focus my attention where I can make more money looking at maybe the U.S. stocks. Now, looking at the U.S. stocks, starting out with the Dow Jones, we're trading right now at 35,500 level. Now, we did hit a high of 36,000, and so for the past couple of days, we're just retracing here down to 35,580, okay, which is not bad, okay? Now, I'd like to see some signs from the Fed that they're, optimistic about the markets re-energizing themselves in light of this pandemic, okay? So I would consider, how much further this could go up into the end of the year. We're still 1,000 points off of our all-time highs, so that could still happen, all right? So just keep that in mind as this continues to break. Now, looking at the NASDAQ, okay, also retracing here and also having a hard time breaking out higher, okay, and showing some weakness, not just breaking out higher, but showing some further weakness here, whereas in the Dow Jones, a little bit stronger than what we've seen. Now, jumping to the individual stocks, looking at Apple retracing here to 173 from 174, looking at Facebook, showing some strength here at 331, Microsoft, a big gap down from 340 down to 327 and not retracing itself, not regaining. That's something of an alarming sight for us because Microsoft was the strongest one on the board. Looking at Amazon, really not tradable. And lastly, looking at Jpmorgan, just consolidating here. So in light of the fact that we're going into the end of the year, today is the 15th. We have still another 2 weeks to the end of the year. We may see like a late run into the end of the year where we get that rally. And possibly if we get some positive news from the Fed today, maybe we'll get that. So lastly, looking at Bitcoin, trading at 48,237, looking like it's consolidating here, not really pushing further down, but looking like it's got a soft landing at 46K. So keep that in mind. If we do get that end of the year rally, this is a part where, you know, both in terms of the time and both in terms of the space, this would be the point that I would look to actually jump into it in anticipation that it's going to roll into the end of the year. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.